What are we doing today?
Euro nymphing?
This winter, we got a really cool opportunity to try out a couple Euro nymphing rods from our friends at Douglas Outdoors. We spent the last week testing out these rods and trying to learn some of the ins and outs of Euro nymphing. While we waited for the equipment to arrive in the mail, we did as much research as we could. We read articles, watched YouTube videos, and even got the help of our friend Michael to make sure we had some idea of what we were doing when the gear arrived. In this video, we'll go over the gear we used and how we set it up. We'll do some side-by-side comparison of Euro setups versus your more traditional nymphing setup. And we'll tell you what we thought after our first week of Euro nymphing. Sweet!
Douglas sent us 2 rods. We got the LRS 10-foot 4-weight and 10-foot 3-weight. We paired that with some really nice Galvin reels. So this is the Gen 3.7, and then we have the 3.5 on the 3-weight. This reel is really awesome because it has a closed frame design, which means it'll help keep the line, this really thin line that the Euro rigs use, from getting stuck on anything in the reel and catching. While we were waiting for these rods and reels and everything to come in the mail, we were doing some research on YouTube, doing some reading, but one rig I found online that I thought was super helpful was from George Daniel, and that's what I decided to go with on my rig. And again, this is the 4-weight. But basically what I did is I took the fly line and attached a 4X leader to it. I cut the leader back to about the 0X point and added a tippet ring there. From that, I ran about 2 feet of cider material, which is basically your indicator in Euro nymphing. So instead of having a big indicator floating on the water and you're looking for that to drop under, you're watching your cider for any, twitches or movement up and down, and that's gonna tell you there's a fish on. I also added a blood knot at one of the color changes in the cider and left the tag ends on, and that's gonna help me see the cider just a little bit better. George Daniel will put one at every color change, so that's an option too. And then from there, I put another tippet ring at the end of the cider, and then that's when I start running my tippet. So I've got about 6 feet of 6X tippet, so super thin, which allows it to sink much faster, and it's a lot stealthier. So I have my point fly at the bottom, which is just a little Duracell, and then about 12 inches up from that, I've got a tag here that has just a little zebra midge, and that's attached with just a surgeon's knot and a little extra tippet there. So super cool little rig. I kept it pretty simple, and it's been really effective for me.
Okay, so as Morgan mentioned, we both kind of started with the same similar rig, one that we learned online on YouTube, utilizing a Euro style fly line to a butt end of a leader, tippet ring, short cider, and then you'd build your tippet section from there. I started with that. I found that with the wind and any bit of little bit of drag or sag in that fly line would pull my flies through the water faster than I wanted it to. So I ended up switching to a rig that our buddy Michael suggested. This is what they call a mono rig. So you are replacing your fly line essentially with a really long section of 4X tippet. So I've got about 30 feet of just 4X cider on here. From that 4X cider, I've got a tippet ring, and then from there it's all pretty much the same. 6X down to my point fly with a dropper with another fly on there. So really I just found a couple things with this rig that are different. Casting is a little harder because you don't have that, little bit bigger diameter fly line to help carry your flies and cast. So casting can be a little more difficult. It has been winter time that we're doing this, so cold hands, cold fingers. Finding this 4X cider to feel it and know that you're actually holding your fly line proved to be a little difficult for me. But I do think that the pros outweighed the cons. It was just more of a true drift where I wanted my flies, rather than being affected by like outside influences. So that's why I stuck with this cider. But yeah, this is a super effective, fun way to fish. I definitely put off trying Euro nymphing for many years because I saw it as like a way to limit, or a limiting way of fishing. Like I figured you couldn't fish dry flies with it, you couldn't fish streamers with it, that you'd kind of just be stuck high sticking and fishing, the length of your rod away from you. But after doing it for a week, I've found that, there are a lot of perks to having a longer rod, a more sensitive rod. Like I said, I was hesitant to try it, but I feel like I've added a whole new tool to my tool bag, and I'm excited to keep playing with it. So we just got back from the river. The weather kind of turned on us. It got windy and cloudy, and we'll talk more about the wind and clouds a little later. But we figured it's a good time to kind of go over the gear a little more in depth and do a side-by-side comparison of a traditional 9-foot 5-weight, your typical trout rod, versus a Euro rod. So the first thing you'll see, Morgan's holding the Euro rod. I don't know if you can tell, but typically your traditional trout rod's gonna be a 9-foot, a nymphing rod, 9-foot 5-weight, 4-weight, 5-weight, maybe 6-weight, but typically a 5-weight, and it's gonna be 9-foot, maybe 9.5. Then when you get into the Euro world, you've got 10 to 12-foot range rods. and those are going to be anywhere from a 2 to 4 weight typically. So yeah, having that extra foot to 2 foot of length gives you just a little extra reach, and it also helps dampen the shock when a fish eats, so you can fish with a little lighter tippet.
So with the Euro nymphing setup, the reel typically is a little bit larger than you would use for a standard 3 or 4 weight rod. That's because it's going to be heavier to balance the longer tip of the rod. So this is the Galvin Euro nymphing reel, and it has a closed frame design, which basically means it's going to really help keep that really thin Euro line that you use when fishing this rig from catching on anything or slipping between the cracks. It's also got a really large arbor, so it's going to be picking up a lot more line a lot more quickly when you're reeling in.
So yeah, and on the lines are a little different. So typically with your normal fly line, it's going to be tapered, and it's going to be a weight forward taper, which helps carry your light flies through the air. With the Euro setup, you don't have that taper to help carry your flies, so you're using typically really heavy flies, and you're relying on the weight of those flies to actually load your line if you're casting that way. So that's a pretty big difference that we found just versus typical nymphing, fatter, weight forward, floating line, and then this you just have, if you have the Euro fly line, that's not even a tapered fly line, it's one diameter all the way through. Or I think they also have double taper, which is like a very fine taper, and it goes down to skinny and then it goes back to heavy. But either way, they're very thin diameter and not meant to help carry your flies.
One of the other big differences with the Euro setup is you are relying on what they call the cider. So this is going to be, it can be mono, it can be nylon, but it's a multicolored piece of tippet essentially that has a few different colors. So rather than having this big heavy indicator slapping the water, having all your line on the water, you're really just kind of holding this cider up and watching it for any pauses or twitches or ticks or anything like that. That's going to indicate a strike for you. A lot of times with these sensitive rods, you'll actually even feel the take, which makes it really exciting too.
So we covered rods, rod length, rod weight differences, the reel differences, the line differences, and I guess the last thing would be the flies. And if you have nymphed, then you've probably used Euro nymphs. A Perdigon or a Spanish bullet are pretty common ones, a Duracell. These are all nymphs that have become pretty popular across the board in all style of nymphing, but are originally Euro nymphs. So we didn't find too much difference when we were like exploring the Euro nymphs because we've used them on bobber rigs or indicator rigs. But the main thing you're looking for in a Euro fly is weight, a lot of weight, and typically it's a lot of weight in proportion to a small size. And that's just so you can get down fast and cut through the water, so less resistance. So a lot of these times these bugs are really just thread, bead, tail maybe, and maybe a hot spot. So very minimalist flies, and the idea is more just to get the fly in front of the fish more than really trying to imitate a bug exactly. So in traditional nymphing, you can play around with more realistic bugs and use split shot to help get those bugs down. In Euro nymphing, you don't typically use split shot, so you're relying on the weight of that fly, and you want it to be pretty streamlined so it just cuts right through the water. Same with streamers. Typically they're fishing smaller size streamers on a Euro rod and a lot of weight on them, and jig style is always kind of key in a Euro fly because you're generally keeping it really close, if not ticking off of the bottom the whole time you're fishing these flies. So having that hook point riding up is always good. But that's not to say you can't fish dry flies or emergers. It's all just style. We never got to play with those. But in what we did, we just fished the jig style. So let's talk about some pros and cons real quick. I think my biggest pro for Euro nymphing is the stealth. Having that sighter and not an indicator really allows you to kind of sneak up on these fish. You can high stick, you don't have line hitting the water or an indicator hitting the water on your cast. You don't even really have false casts, so you're just kind of plopping these bugs, they're sinking right down into the strike zone, and you're getting eats really quick, so it's a very effective way to fish. That being said, I think it's also a con because I really do enjoy casting a rod, and I really enjoy the feeling of casting a dry fly and making that perfect presentation and seeing a fish come up and eat. So that's, I guess, a pro and a con to start it off. What do you think?
I agree. I think something that we found very challenging in the beginning was dealing with wind. We live at 8,000 feet. Wind is just a natural part of it, and even more so in the winter. So getting used to what's going on underwater when the wind is like pushing your sighter around was a little tricky, and it could be a lot harder to see the take. So that's when I was relying a lot more on actually feeling the fish eat. So that definitely made it challenging. I don't think it's like the most ideal setup for wind. Not impossible, but that is probably where I would do an indicator rig in the future.
Yeah, an indicator allows you to mend and kind of fix your drag, fix your drift, and you don't have that line in the air dragging. It's actually sitting on the water, so that is a benefit of having your line out on the water.
Yeah. But also by the same token, like if it's not a windy day, it crushes, and like you can fish so many different pieces of water throughout just one section. And whether you're like high sticking over a fast current that's in front of you to keep it in some slower water, or even casting upriver from you, I just found it to be really effective and accurate in terms of keeping my bugs where I wanted them to be in the water.
So with all that being said, you don't have to run out there and go purchase all this fancy gear. You don't have to get a Euro rod. To start out and to try it, they have a lot of different tools. There's kits that most fly line companies or leader tippet companies make that you can just attach right to your loop-to-loop connection on your fly line. And you can go out there and try it with your 9-foot rod and just practice some of the techniques and get the hang of it and see if you like it before going and purchasing a new rig. But anyways, we thought it would be fun to make this video and maybe helpful to anyone that's thinking about getting into it or is new to Euro nymphing. If you guys have any more tips that we left out, drop them in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more cool videos. Thanks for stopping by.